and he had this evil look in his eyes, like he was completely out of it. But I couldn't move, I couldn't run. My brother was in the shop and I couldn't scream, I couldn't open my mouth, I couldn't do anything. I literally just stood there looking at him coming towards me, and I don't know what happened. I can't till this day tell you guys what happened, but my legs would just not move. My mouth would not move. My heart was pounding in my chest. This guy is coming right towards me. This is the guy that's been like this threatening me. This is the guy that's been stalking me for the last few months of my life. This is the guy that's made my life hell for the past few months of my life. And this guy was literally within touching distance to me, and there was nothing I felt like I could do. Hey Sassperellas, it's your girl Sassy J, and I am back with another video. And as you can tell from the title down below, this is going to be a story time video, which I'm completely surprised about, because when I started this channel, I had no intention whatsoever to do any form of storytelling. But especially guys, especially with the story that I'm about to share with you guys. But I was laying in bed last night and I was just reflecting on my life and the things that I went through in my life and things that I've overcome. And this just popped up in my head. Not that it popped up in my head, because it never actually left my mind. It was always somewhere in the back of my mind, especially when I meet new people. But yeah, guys, but I thought I would share the story because I feel like when this happened to me, there's so many things, like looking back at it now, there's so many things that I wish I had done differently. But do you know what? We can only live and learn. And I'm just hoping by somebody else watching this video or seeing this video, and if they are going through this, or if they were ever to go through this, at least they will kind of have like, I don't know, they will kind of like hopefully take something from this video. I really don't know. But this is a situation that I, be honest with you, I don't normally talk about this, and very little people know about this situation. Mainly because it was something that affected me for years, for many years, and to be honest, it's something that still affects me now in certain aspects of my life. But saying that, let's get down to the story. So I was about 18 years old, and at the time I was studying, and I had maths GCSE every Tuesday night between 7 and 9 p.m. And this was all the way in Putney, and I didn't mind because I was a night owl anyways, and I liked being out late. Not that I liked being out late, but I had no problem being out late. And I would always take buses, even now, because I think I have a slight little fear of the underground right now. So I prefer to take buses like wherever I go, if it's possible. And cab too. But anyways, sometimes your girl is broke, so she has to take the bus. But anyways. So yes, guys, I remember this night on the bus, and it was on the 118, because this is actually not far from where I actually live now. So it's kind of almost the same route, basically. And I was on the 118, and I remember it, you know, it was somewhere around about to 11, coming up to 11 o'clock. Because I remember that night I waited ages for the bus, and I finished about 9 o'clock, 9:30, and from Putney all the way to Brixton, that was my route, Putney to Brixton, and from Brixton I'd take the 118 and it would take me to my house. So I remember I was on the bus, and there was this guy, I was at the back seat, and there was this guy kind of sitting opposite me. And if you're in the UK, you will kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about, because we have the back seat, and then we have like two seats on both sides, kind of like facing the back seat, basically. So there was this guy, he was nice looking, light-skinned guy, handsome, very tall guy, but he kept staring at me. And I remember thinking, why is this guy looking into my morning? Do you know? I remember thinking that, and usually back in the days, I get annoyed when people stare at me because I felt like it was too rude. I felt like staring and not saying anything is rude. That's for me. So I was a bit annoyed the fact that he just kept staring at me. And it wasn't even a stare that was kind of like, you know what, looking back at it now, I should have really known better. Because it's not the kind of stare that, somebody catches you staring at them and then you look away. It wasn't even that kind of stare. He was intensely staring at me. And then I remember I looked over, I was like to the side of my eyes, and I thought, is anybody seeing this? Because there was a guy sat next to me, and I was like, are they noticing that this person is just creeping me out right now? Anyways, the bus turned onto Greyhound Lane, which is probably about 5 or 6 stops from my house at the time. And he suddenly just came out and he said to me, I know I'm staring at you, and I don't mean to be rude. And I said to him, so why are you staring then? I was a little bit feisty, but I was still being polite. So he said to me, do you know what? I'm just looking at you and I'm admiring your beauty. You're a very beautiful girl. At that point, I thought to myself, oh, bless him, thank you. But I know. But yes, I was like, oh, thank you. And then he said to me, I would ask you for your number, but I know that you wouldn't give a guy like me your number. Oh, gosh. Reverse psychology, but it gets me all the time. Let me tell you, it gets me all the time. I know it's reverse psychology. I know this. Like, I'm a very smart girl. But I was at that point in my life, I was all about confidence building. I remember even writing a little confidence book for my friend to give it to her to build her confidence, because I was always the kind of person that always feel like people need to embrace who they are. You need to be happy in your body, in your own self. And confidence was my thing. You couldn't tell me nothing them days, okay? Nothing. Beyonce had nothing on me back in them days. I'm telling you. But yes, guys, when he said that to me, obviously I didn't really want to give him my number because, hold up, I had a boyfriend at the time. But when he said that to me, I felt somewhat away. I felt like, why would you think I'm better than you? I'm not better than you. Why would I not give you my number? And I thought to myself, but he's a good looking guy. So, like, why would he feel this way about himself? Why is he doubting himself that much to think that, I wouldn't give him my number? So he went, yeah, I would really want to get to know you. So I said, here's the thing. It's not that I wouldn't give a guy like you my number, because I think you're a very nice looking guy and I'm sure you're a nice person, but I do have a boyfriend. And I remember him saying to me, oh, well, I'm not surprised that you have a boyfriend, but can we be friends? So at that point, I thought to myself, oh, I hate when they do that, because they put me in a spot. And sometimes I'm just like straight up like, no, we cannot be friends, because you're not trying to be my friend. You're trying to get into my knickers. But because of the way he was talking and how he was saying about, how I wouldn't want to give him my number, almost like he thinks he wasn't deserving of my number. Why would he think that? That's what I thought. So a few conversations were exchanged between us, and then I went, you know what? I don't mind giving you my number, but as long as you're respectful to my relationship, because I have a boyfriend and I'm not looking for another person and I don't mix like that. But if you want to be friends, then fine. And then he went, yeah, I respect that. I respect that. I just think you're a nice person and I wouldn't mind getting to know you. So I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I gave him my number, and at this point, I'm getting off at the next bus stop. So I pressed the bell, and then when I pressed the bell, trying to make my way to where the door is, I realized that he's actually gotten up as well. So I'm just like, it's a bit weird. Like, is he getting off the bus or is he following me? Remember thinking to myself, okay, because this is late. Remember, it's late. It's almost 11 o'clock in the night. And I was just like thinking, oh my gosh, I hope, because I have a thing. I don't know what it is about me, guys, but I seem to attract a lot of cuckoos. You know what I mean? I'm just wondering, are they seeing something that I don't see? I don't know. Your girl do not know. I hope not, for my sake. But yes, guys, he got off the bus. And when he got off the bus, I was trying to act cool. I was trying to act like I wasn't bothered. I'm just going about my business. I'm going about my home. We already had a discussion, and let's go about our business, right? That's what I'm thinking to myself. So he's talking to me and he's walking in the direction that I'm going. And I'm just like, okay, so what is happening? So I said to him, do you live around here? He said to me, no, I don't. So when he said that to me, I was like, oh shit, it's about to get real. He don't live here. He don't live around this area. And then he said, this is what calmed me down a little bit. I don't know if he saw it in my eyes because I was like, you know, but he said to me, I don't live in this area, but there's some guys that work for me in this area, and I'm just gonna go pop over to see them and just kind of sort out some payment. And I was like, okay, so that kind of made me feel a little bit better. But me being me, I'm not very I don't trust people that easily. I don't know. And my intuition, and I say, guys, let me tell you something. When you feel something as a woman, you feel it, your intuition, God gave it to us for a reason. And if you feel something, best believe there's a reason why you feel that way. So I'm just like, okay, so we're going straight, and it's, you know, my house is literally about the third or fourth house when you turn left. So I'm just thinking, okay, I'm right at the place where I need to turn left. But this hombre is still right beside me, walking alongside me like we're walking down the aisle. So I'm just like, okay, so I will see you around. And I said, have a good night. And he said, you too. So I'm like turning onto my road. And of course, I'm trying to look behind me to make sure that he's not following me. You know, it's late at night. I'm a woman. A very attractive one too. Very attractive one. I'm joking. Okay, no, I'm not joking because I am attractive. I'm beautiful. But you know, that's not the story. But anyways, guys, so I'm looking behind me thinking, is this guy following behind me? But I realize he's not following me, but he's standing right where I left him, so he can see what house I go into. So like I said, intuition was in play, and I said to myself, you know what, I'm not going to go into my house. I'm going to walk past my house. So I continued and walked past my house and turned onto the nearest road that was basically to the right at the time. And I was peeking. I was literally like trying to see what he's doing. And he was stood there, I kid you not, for probably about almost a minute after I got onto that road. Bear in mind, this was a good distance. It's a good distance from where I left him, but he was still standing there. I'm not gonna lie, red flags did kind of go boop, 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 boop. But then I thought to myself, you know what? He's probably, you know, being typical. He wants to see which house I'm going into. He wants to see where I live. So I'm like, okay then. So I watched him, then he walked away. I waited a little while because I didn't know whether he was just pretending to walk away. I don't know why I was thinking that, but like I said to you, I just weren't feeling right. Something wasn't right. My intuition was telling me that, it wasn't telling me that I was in danger, but it was telling me to be cautious. And that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. I got in my house. When I got in the house, because when I realized he wasn't there, and I went straight into the house, went upstairs, went into my room, and I got a message from him. I got the message and he went, hi, you know, it's nice to meet you. I don't want to say his name, so let's call him Peter, shall we? Let's call him Peter. Let's hope I remember to call him Peter. I'm not going to call his name because you know what the internet's like, and that's part of my life that happened, and I kind of want to keep it there. But let's call him Peter for now, right? So he messaged me and I was like, oh, he said, it was nice to meet you and thank you for giving me a number, you know. And I said to him, and he was telling me how much he's a nice guy. And I said, I don't doubt that you're a nice guy, Peter, but you just have to understand, as long as you can respect my relationship, then we won't have a problem. He said, that is fine. I said to him, anyways, I'm going to go to bed. Good night, because I had my English the following day, which was the Wednesday. So that was it. He called me every now and again to see how I was, and he would ask me, you know, would you like to meet up for a drink, etc. And to be honest with you, I just didn't think that it was something that I really wanted to do, because like I said, I felt uncomfortable about the situation because I had a boyfriend. And at the time, guys, I did speak to my boyfriend about this issue, and he got so pissed with me at the time, which is understandable because realistically, if it was him that gave his number to a girl because she said that, I probably would have been a little bit pissed. Okay, just a little bit. But but he was just like, you need to stop. But he knew he didn't give my number with the intention of being a cheat or being disloyal or anything like that. He knew I weren't trying to do that to him. But he knew me so well. He said to me, you need to stop trying to fix every broken thing. And at the time I was really upset that he said that, because he was like, you need to stop going around trying to fix people, because you need to worry about your life. You're trying to fix everybody. Not everything that's broken can be fixed. And I remember him saying that to me quite clearly, and I never forget it, because I've realized now, especially the last 4 or 5 years, that I'm actually really attracted to people that's broken. I don't know am I broken? Can I be broken? Guys, you think I'm broken? I don't know. I hope I'm not broken, but I might be. But I don't even know what that was, but I was reflecting. But yes, but I'm so attracted to people who are broken. I always feel like if somebody feels bad about themselves, I need to help them to feel better about themselves. If somebody talk badly about themselves, I need to make sure that they talk good things about themselves. If somebody, whatever it is, if they feel like they're not capable of doing something, I need to show them that they can. It's just, I don't know what it is. Like, I should have just been a doctor if I want to fix things. But anyways, guys, so I remember telling my boyfriend at the time, and he got pissed. It's understandable and stuff. And I still, like I said, he understood. But he just had that problem with the fact that he said I was too friendly, and people was going to take my friendliness and my kindness for a weakness eventually. That's what he said to me at the time. And he was right, to be honest, guys, because I think it went on for about a whole week and a half. And bear in mind, this guy actually met one of my cousins, because I remember he wanted to meet up with me. He called me and he said, I want to meet up with you. And at the time I was kind of outside going to the shop, and my cousin was with me, and he said to me, I want to see you. And I said to him, well, where are you? And he said to me, well, I'm in the area. And I said, well, great. Well, I'm just coming from the shop. My cousin's with me and stuff like that. And I remember him saying to me that he needs to go and pay the guys that was working for him. And then somehow me and my cousin followed him. We followed him we didn't go into the house, but we followed him to basically outside the house. And he was talking to the guys, and I think there were Polish men and stuff. And the way he was speaking to them, it got me really upset. He was like being condescending. He was trying to manipulate or patronize them. And I could tell that he was only doing it in a way to abuse power. He wanted to show off to me and my cousin to say, yes, I'm their boss, kind of thing. I think he wanted to show that he was like, high and mighty, powerful, whatever he was trying to do. But I got that kind of vibe. Anyways, when we left the house, I said to him, like, I'm not being funny. I didn't feel comfortable with the way how you spoke to those guys. Anyways, he apologized to me. He was so soft. He was so lovely. He was so cute. He was so, like, friendly towards me and my cousin, that what happened in the next couple of days after this, I just never for a million years thought that would happen. So we left, we walked back. Obviously, I said to my cousin the same thing. I said, I don't want this guy to know where I live. She's like, oh, but he's so lovely. I said, I do not want him to know where I live. So again, me and her, we walked right past my house. I think we tried to put him on the bus, and he was like, no, I'll walk you to your house. And I was like, no, we'll put you on the bus. And he's like, no, I'm the guy. And I was like, there's two of us. So in the end, he said, don't worry. So we stood at the bus stop, and then we walked away, right? And we walked all the way down to the end of the road to kind of like hide where we were going. We didn't want him to know. The following day, I remember I was babysitting my younger sister, and he called me and he said, do you want to meet up? And I said, I'm not really wanting to, because I'm babysitting and stuff. To be honest, I never wanted to go. I wouldn't have gone to see this guy on my own. Never. And then he said to me, just come and see me at my house. And I went, no, why would I come to your house? I don't know you like that. And he went, but you know me. We're friends. I was like, But at this point, I think I met him probably about 4 or 5 weeks. I don't think it was anything longer than that, because there was a time that I literally weren't talking to him at all because I was so busy, didn't reply to any of his calls or his messages and stuff. Not intentionally at the time, to be honest. I just had my courseworks and everything, and I was just doing my own thing. So he got really upset and he said to me, "Take your sister with you. It's fine. You can take her to my house." And I said, "I'm not being funny. I wouldn't even come to your house on my own, let alone to take my younger sister that I'm babysitting to your house. A house where I don't know. I don't even know where you live. I don't even know you. I don't know what you're capable of." And then he said to me, "What, do you think I'm a crazy serial killer?" And I was like, "Well, everybody is a serial killer in my eyes." Like, guys, I'm not even joking. Like, if I've dated you or I've met you and we went on any date or we had any form of relation, there was a time that I considered that you could possibly be a serial killer. Yes, I have. It crossed my mind every time I meet a guy. Every time I just know. So when I went on dates, I would always either take the license plate or the and send it to my friend. I would ask for the driver's license, and I'd always send a little message to say if I die or if I'm killed, this is the person that I was with. So even now, when I meet somebody that I like, or if somebody asks me on a date, or if anyone shows any interest and I am interested in that person, my closest friends know what you look like. Try me. Try me, bitch. Try me. So yes, extra precaution. I'm just trying to help them out in case somebody tries something. At least if I don't survive, at least they catch my killer. That's all I'm saying. So yes, guys. So he was really upset with me, and then I remember in the night, he hung up the phone on me that day, and in the night he called me back and he said, "You never make time for me, and you always come with some stupid excuses. That's not how you treat your man." I was like, my who? And I was just like, it was at this point, I was just like, is he, what is this brother on about? He said, "That's not how you treat your man." I was just like, "Homie, this is not how I treat my man. But you, my friend, you're not my man." Anyways, he started going crazy and he's saying that it's girls like you that think you're better than men like me. And girls like you need to be taught a lesson. And I'm like, you know what? I started to think, you know what? This guy's crazy. I'm not going to put up with this. So I said, you know what, Peter? I almost said his name there. Oh my gosh. I was like, you know what, Peter? I'm done. Please delete my number. Do not call me back. Do not message me back. I want nothing to do with you. Who told me to say that? He went crazy. He was calling me. And when I said the guy called me probably about 20 times in a space of 1 minute. He kept calling me and he'd leave voice messages. And then he started to text me. And at first I was just ignoring it. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm not even bothered. But what started to really bother me, he just started saying, "Oh, remember, I know where you live, bitch. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to cut your throat. I'm going to use a broomstick and I'm going to have..." Basically, he's gonna have sex with me. So he's gonna put the broomstick in my vagina and use it to violate my body. At that point, I thought to myself, "Oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?" And then at first I was trying to ignore the messages. And then he would mess me some stuff and say, "Drip, drip, drip. That's how your blood would be running down on the floor." And then he started telling me he's going to cut me up and he's going to cook me and he's going to feed me to his dog. And then he started to say how he's going to pick out all my fingernails and he's gonna use my eyes, gonna pick out all my eyelashes, he's gonna take my eyes, he's gonna feed it to me, he's gonna peel my skin off my body, and it was just so many stuff. And that, guys, I can't even tell you. I'm just thinking about it now and it literally it's making me upset. But like, yeah, so I'm thinking about it now and just really making me upset, because I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do? Because for some crazy reason, I blamed myself. I started to blame myself, thinking it's my fault. It's my fault because I shouldn't have given this guy my number. And to be honest, maybe I shouldn't have given this guy my number, but I was trying to, in my own little stupid naive way, I was trying to help this person, or I was trying to make this person feel better. And this is why I say to people now, like, I don't believe in the whole white lie thing, because sometimes that white lie can turn back and bite you in the bum. Because this guy here, I'm trying to be really good, nice to him, and I was trying to build his confidence, and not knowing that he is actually, well, he has got to be mentally ill, because no one in their right mind would do or say stuff like that to people. And then he started saying to me, I'm going to wait for you outside your bus stop. And I know you're bound to get off the bus. I know where you live. When you see me, you better run. You better run. Because if I ever catch you, you're dead. And I was just thinking, I never told my mom. I never told anyone. And I just kept, I think I was trying to tell my boyfriend at the time. And when I start to say to him that this guy's just a bit crazy, his first comment was, you attract those kind of people, crazy people, and I don't know why you always feel like you need to fix the world. And this is what happens to people who wants to think they can fix everybody. And I felt that was like a kick in the teeth. I felt like that's not something you say like to somebody when they're feeling a certain way, and when, you know, when they're in that situation that I was in. So I was really kind of like bummed out, and I felt like, you know what, he's my boyfriend and he's thinking like this, so everybody else will think and judge me thinking, you're stupid, you shouldn't have. Don't get me wrong, if I could go back in time, I probably would have done a lot of things differently, but I probably should have told my mom about it. I don't think I ever told my mom. She does until this day. She never knew about it. I never told her. The only person in my family that knew about this situation was my brother. Rest in peace, big bro. And I didn't tell my brother. I think my phone kept ringing, and I was in the shower at the time, and I think he must have went out that night and he came home very late, and my phone was ringing, ringing, ringing. And he just got really upset. He got really upset, and he just came in and he's like, just shut the effing phone off. Right? And I was just like, you know, he's like, who's calling you? And my brother was very protective. He didn't want, even though I was 18, he didn't want to know that I had any boyfriends, didn't want to know anything like that. I was still basically his little sister. And he would still tell everyone that I was about 15 or 16 years old. I don't know why, but he would always tell people that. It's just protective big brother mode, I'm guessing. So I remember he took the phone up, and I'm trying to say to him, give me the phone. And he took the phone up. It so happened that the guy sent a message. And the message that he sent was basically another threat saying, I will kill you. And I will kill everyone for you. And my brother saw this and he was like, who the F sent you this? And then I was just like, I felt stupid. And I ended up telling my brother. And he was saying to me, where does this person live? And I told him I don't know. And he's like, you know what? I'm done. If I ever catch him, I'm literally going to kill him. I remember him saying that, and I was just like, you know, I don't know what to do, because I was also worried for my brother, and I was worried for my mom. I was worried for everybody. I'm thinking, if this guy sees me with them, and next time around he sees them and not me, he might try to hurt them. This is how I was thinking. And I remember I didn't hear anything from him for probably about a week and a half, going towards 2 weeks. And I thought, yes, thank God he's over it. He's forgotten all about me. You know, I'm happy. Like, I will never, ever, ever, ever give my number to another guy. Ever. This is what I said. Girl, please. But yeah. But I meant it them times. I meant it. But about almost 2 weeks after that, I remember being in Streatham, and I saw my bus, and my bus was, I was basically standing at the wrong bus stop, and my bus was going past me. And I don't know, I think that was fate. And this is why when things happen, I don't question them, right? Because my bus went right past me and went to the other bus stop. At the time, it was the stop near to the ice ring, when they had the first ice rink and stuff. So I was like trying to rush to go into the bus, and then for some reason, like, I felt something or someone or whatever it is just told me to look up. And when I looked up, my eyes was like four with his. Like, literally, I felt my legs go weak. I felt my heart was like pounding in my chest. I literally freaked out, because I'm thinking he sat at the window and he's like this, staring at me. He's literally just staring at me, and I'm just thinking, oh my god, I cannot go on this bus now, because this is the bus that I'm meant to be going on. I cannot go on this bus. So I decided I'm not going to go on the bus. But then before the bus drove off and he realized I wasn't coming on the bus, he came off the bus. And I saw him getting up, walking towards the door to come off the bus. And he's like literally looking at me. So I'm trying to walk back away from the bus stop, walking away from the bus stop. So I'm thinking, if anything, I'm going to have to run, because this guy tells me, like, he texts me all the time and he used to tell me that I'm going to kill you when I see you. This is what I'm going to do to you, you know? And then I saw him coming off the bus. So I literally started to walk really quickly away from the bus stop that I was at, and then he's walking like faster towards me, and then I saw a 109. This bus is not going in my direction, but when I saw the 109 at the other bus, the bus stop that I was walking towards, I just ran and I jumped on it, and I said to the driver, do not let that man on the bus. He stood right in front of the bus, and the driver drove the bus off. And I felt like, oh my god, that's like a relief to me. I was like a relief. I literally was so scared. I could have gotten off at the other bus stop and walk it down to my house. But I decided to take the bus all the way to Galpins Road. And when I got to Galpins Road, I took another bus to come all the way around to Streatham Vale, which is where I lived at the time. Because I didn't want to see him, because I thought to myself, he came off the bus, we normally come off at the same stop. So if I kind of take a different route, I could probably walk and avoid the bus stop that we would normally get off at together. And that's what I did. And he started, him seeing me that day started to send me more and more messages again. And these messages were more and more intense. And he would talk about how he was going to peel my skin off, and how he was going to like just literally use an ice pick and just make little holes over my body and stuff like that. He would watch me bleed, and he would drink my blood. Just stuff like that. And he just say to me, you're going to die the cruelest death. I'm going to make sure that you die a painful death. He would always say stuff like that to me. And I was just, guys, I never told anyone. And at that point, I thought to myself, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I felt really, really depressed. I wanted to go to my doctor, and I wanted to tell them, like, listen, I needed help, but I didn't know how to say, because I felt like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I just felt so scared. And I felt, I don't know, I just really, first time in my life, I felt like, you know, at any moment, this guy could kill me. And it was serious. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody at all. I would not wish it at all on anybody, because I couldn't sleep. I didn't want to leave the house unless I had to leave the house. And I remember, just like, even when my mum would ask me to go to the shops, it was really hard for me. I literally was always looking around me. It was just this panic. You know, there's always this panic that I had, and there's always feelings in my chest. And I remember, like, probably about a month or two down the line, I think me and my brother was going to my aunt's house at the time. And I think she was living in Battersea. And we were going to her house. I can't remember why we were going there, but we were going to her house and stuff. But we used to do that all the time anyways. But I remember my brother was standing at the bus stop, and my brother went into the shop. And when my brother went into the shop, I was just standing there, just waiting for my brother, waiting for the bus. Because he said to me, if you see the bus, just run and let me know. Because the bus stop was literally right next to the shop. So I was standing there, minding my own business. And then, again, boop, out of nowhere, I see this person. It was the movements of this person that alerted me. I see this movements, like really quick, kind of like aggressive kind of movements coming towards me. And I realized it is Peter. Do you know what? Every time I say Peter, I feel like I'm saying his name. I'm going to have to check this video over to make sure I haven't said his name. But I looked up and it was Peter. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, where you are crippled with fear. At that point, he was so close to me, I couldn't move. I could not move. And he had this evil look in his eyes, like he was completely out of it. But I couldn't move. I couldn't run. My brother was in the shop and I couldn't scream. I couldn't open my mouth. I couldn't do anything. I literally just stood there looking at him coming towards me. And I don't know what happened. I can't till this day tell you guys what happened, but my legs would just not move. My mouth would not move. My heart was pounding in my chest. This guy is coming right towards me. This is the guy that's been like this threatening me. This is the guy that's been stalking me for the last few months of my life. This is the guy that's made my life hell for the past few months of my life. And this guy was literally within touching distance to me, and there was nothing I felt like I could do at the time. And he literally got up to about kind of like here to me, and he came and he looked in my face. And when he did that, my brother came out the shop. When my brother came out the shop, the words just blurted out of my mouth. Devereaux, that's him, that's the guy, this the guy. And my brother literally went up to him and grabbed him and said, listen, if you come near my sister ever again, I will you up. And I remember him pushing him towards this like building. I think it was a internet cafe at the time, and he pushed him up towards the building, and he was gonna hit him, and the people were starting to look, and I said to him like, no, it's fine, and whatever. And my brother like pushed him towards the ground and said, listen, if you ever text my sister, call my sister, I'll come anywhere near my sister, I will find you and I will kill you. Mother to go to my auntie's house, because I remember standing there and tears were just coming down my eyes, and I was just literally crying and stuff. And you know what? My brother does not really hug me that often, yeah? Because we have this thing where we're not good at showing emotion and stuff in our family. So he was at that time, I remember my brother hugged me. He hugged me and he's like, don't worry, you're all right. And he hugged me, and I was just like, you know what? For the first time, I thought to myself, okay, well, at least somebody was there to stood up for me. There was somebody there to like protect me within that moment. And I was so thankful, because had that happened when I was on my own, I don't know what would have been the outcome, because like I said, I could not move for some reason. I could not move. But yeah, and that was the last time I heard from him. As the last time he messaged me. He didn't message me after that. He didn't text me after that. And I didn't actually see him after that for about 2 or 3 years after this happened. I remember I was going, me and my friend Marlene, aka Bus Lady, on Z Millionaire TV. Me and her was on the bus, and it's one of the small buses. I can't remember where we were going. I think maybe Clapham or something, or we were coming from Clapham. I don't remember what we were doing. And we was on the bus, and we were laughing and chatting, and like there was a seat there, and then we were on the seat behind it, and we were laughing and chatting and laughing and chatting. And for some reason, I kind of looked ahead in the glass, and the reflection of this person just hit me. And it was Peter. And for that moment, and I think Boss Lady Marlene, she could tell that something was different. She could tell that something wasn't right, because it was almost like I literally just went silent. I kind of just had my shocked face. I kind of had worry all over me. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I literally just was looking at this person's reflection, looking at me. When he got off the bus, I touched her, I nudged her, and I said, that's Peter. And then when he got to the side and he's walking past us on the bus, he goes, boom, and knocked on the bus and go like this, just to kind of intimidate me and stuff. And I was just like, and then I realized to myself, you know what, after all these years, this man still was able to make me feel so scared, so terrified. Do you know what I mean? I've never felt that way before in my whole life. And it was hard, because even now when I get into a relationship or I meet guys and they're like, oh, let's go out, let's do this and that, my rule is I never ever go to a guy's house, and I don't let them go to my house unless I am so comfortable with this person. I've known this person for quite some time. I just don't do it, because what I looked back on was, what if I had gone to this man's house? What if I'd taken my little sister to this man's house? God knows what would have happened. God knows what would have happened. So, that was what I was thinking about last night, guys. And I just thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to share it. Like, I feel like now, like, talking about it is something that's always made me feel emotional. And I do feel really emotional at the moment now, just talking about it and stuff. But you know what? I'm really glad that God was able to take me through it. And I'm so glad that I've never actually saw that guy. I've never had a glimpse of that guy ever since. There were times that I saw people that looked like him, and it kind of shook me for a minute. But fortunately, I've never actually come into any contact with this guy. But yeah, that is my stalker story, and that was my very first stalker. And I say first stalker because I ended up having another one um, a few years ago. But that one, it wasn't as bad as Peter, because Peter was onto a different level, completely different level. So guys, if you ever meet anyone like that, don't make the mistake that I made. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the authorities, tell the police. That's what I really should have done, and I didn't actually do that because I blamed myself for a minute. I thought it was my fault for giving him my number and stuff like that. So if that ever happens to you, ever in that situation, it's not your fault. You have no control over how somebody decides to behave and somebody's behavior. So guys, if it happens to you, make sure you share it. Don't just keep it to yourself, because it's not fair and it can affect you later on in your life. Okay, guys? Anyways, thank you so much for listening to my story. I know it's quite a lengthy story, so I appreciate you guys. But I wanted to share that with you. I cannot believe I just shared that with you, to be honest with you, because this is something that very few people know. And I'm basically now telling the world, which is very, very strange. Very, very strange. But you know what? We learn, we evolve, we grow. So thank you so much for listening. And guys, if you're new to my channel, please, please, please subscribe and join us here. Hey, hey, hey. But yes, guys, so for now, take care and just stay sassalicious.